Welcome everyone to the 323rd weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. Somehow it's May 10th, I guess. It's finally sunny up here in Kanakistan.
How lucky.
Yeah. It's like 23 degrees out, I think. It's great. Or I think that's like 1.5 million imperial Fahrenheit thingies. King's toes measured in temperature.
Yeah. But you said it was warm. It's only 27? Jeez.
It's also decided it's summer here.
So, as always, we got a small, lovely horde of people joining us today. We got an Alley Claw.
Hello.
You might even hear a CPC.
Furby.
We got a Len.
Hello.
And we got a Vex.
Howdy.
Look,
And
it's
of
a
course,
people.
We have you. We have you, the living dead. All of you, the living dead.
Our supreme leader.
Brains.
I like to think of you as a hive mind, because like you say you have buckets of body parts, right? So there's like multiple people. What's that philosophy thing? Someone ship? Let's use
The ship is Theseus. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But then that would just mean I can't tell the original me.
Yeah. So which one's the real one?
Oh, fair. All of them.
Wait, but if you're all a collective conscious, then aren't you all you at the same time?
Yeah, we're getting meta here. We're going to just start off with pictures before my brain melts. I do have spares, but they're pain to replace.
Fair enough. Gotta reprogram them.
Well, you just got to jam them in the ear really quickly so the other one pops out. But if you do it too slowly, it doesn't come out quick enough and you end up gnawing. And if you do it too fast, it comes out like the sausage YouTube channel where the guy makes sausages of different things. That one.
Great visual.
Thanks.
No problem. Alright, so let's do this horse thing. Our first picture submitted is by user deleted from planet. Full body sketch / base. Need a bit of help on the wings. So you're getting bonus points here. And the reason you're getting bonus points is because I see you've taken a couple of swings at this one. And that's awesome. So cool. Bonus points.
I like the first thing I see is just like this other pony peeking around the corner like, "Hey, buddy." So I'm guessing here, because you said it was a base, so like so the one of them's a sketch and the other you trace the sketch, which is totally fine because that's absolutely a way to keep your like traditional artwork clean by doing a sketch and then tracing a clean version onto a different piece of paper. But I'm just trying to understand the process here.
I think they're actually just making a base.
Making a base.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one's the original?
It looks like it's been copied by a copy machine, I think.
Oh. That's actually a fun way to do things.
Or maybe just a really big pencil-shaped stamp.
I've seen that, actually.
Oh.
We can just stamp things and then build on top of it. Like little paper dolls. Anyway. I see two lovely people drawing wings already. You'll have great references in a moment.
I would just fatten up the legs just a bit, plumping them up, because horses generally have quite large hooves. In MLP, it's actually about 2/3 of the size of the head per hoof, which is massive. They're like these little balloons of adorableness. So inflating them a bit wouldn't be harmful in this picture, especially because your proportions are pretty standard horse proportions. And I would also add just a bit of a shoulder to the top end of that leg, just to give it a bit more shape to it, help you with that, give it that last joint, so you can get a bit more flexibility out of them.
I would be a smidge careful. Just looking at your proportions, your pony here. Oh, come on, thank you. This big purple circle I'm just doing at the moment. Your back is shooting like straight up into the air, despite them being they're slightly turned, sure, but this is pretty extreme of an angle for their back to be. Usually horses, or even if you look at the show style, it'd be a little less, a little flatter, coming from the neck. So that's just something to be careful of. You don't want to have this big, because then this neck is also then extremely long, connecting to the front here. Just something to pay attention to and think about. Boop, 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 boop. Don't want to have that big angle, because the legs are about the same size for horses. An angle like this would mean the front legs are much shorter than the back legs.
Do you like the plop? I would take your fluff on the chest neck here, move it down just a bit, because there's it. I understand where you're coming from, where that fluff is, but if you move it down a bit, it's going to make more sense for sticking out as you start getting that curve at the chest, especially because you don't have any further down. So just migrating that fluff, much like as you get older, the hair migrates off the top of your head. That same method. So moving it down will help give it that, or make more sense for where that fluff is popping out. Good eyes, though. These fluffy ears.
They're very cute and fun.
Stream. Jeez, there it is.
Hey, Fluffy.
Hello. Just getting the stream open on my tablet. Had to find my keyboard. And now I'm in. Oh, hooray. I'm in.
Would either of you lovely wing drawers like to explain a little bit about the wing drawings you've done?
I would love to, but I don't know how to do it. No pun intended. I just wing it.
Oh, Christ.
I totally feel you there.
I opened an image of a crow on my image browser, which happens to be Bing, and I copied it. And different colors. The different colors on there are just how I think of each area of the wing.
Yeah.
So you'd have like the big flying feathers here, and then the smaller outside feathers here. Then there's like this whole middle section, which it's two different types of feathers when it's open, but when it's closed, you can kind of get away with just doing like one shape. But I always start, instead of starting by like immediately trying to do like little feathers, I start by making like big shapes, like two ovals like this. And then from there you can start defining it more. That's how I do my wings.
Nice. References.
Mm-hmm. And I think specifically for your wings here, something you could pay attention to using the other two wings as reference. You have very spiky wings, and they're very short and spiky. So we don't really have any feathers that follow through. And obviously, you don't have to draw each individual feather on the wing. Really comes down to style choice, but if you're coming to something a little more simplistically, you can see how each of the wings over here kind of have short bursts of feathers, but the longer feathers are the important ones to kind of define a bit more. So giving them a full shape will help, build that feeling of the wing. And then you can have like I'll call it, let me get a big color. I'll call it this front section like part A to really simplify it, and back here part B. So part B is where you want to get kind of the full length feathers, having the lines go either practically back to the part A or, all the way. I think is a good thing to attempt for your next attempt. And like I said, just a little bit rounder. So if I start off with a darker color, if I start off with a ball to signify the tip here, I'll get my rounded tip of the feather, and then the first section they don't have to go all the way to the front. And this is just really quick. You do little bumple feathers. You can give them a little more of a point, but not so spiky, not just like a triangle. Like a rounded triangle would be a little more feather feeling. And then for the back wings, you can kind of etch out your shape and then go back over with the full long feathers. Just for the, and of course you had the second part of the wing that everyone else already drew a lovely diagram for. I just was going more for the feather shape. But yeah, something to try for next time, because I know that's what they mentioned they were struggling with most, right? The wings.
Mhm.
All right, shall we move on to our next horse?
Sure.
Yeah, keep up the great work.
Yeah. All right,
Side note, I finally got. Oh, sorry. The-
our next one is by Educational Tree 385. Every day I'm a post a pony until my art gallery has been emptied. I appreciate you not going through with that. As discussed, this subreddit's for critique, giving critique, getting critique, learning about art and art creation, and having art discussions. While it would be great to be used as a gallery, there are better subreddits for that to prevent things from getting clogged up and feelings from getting hurt if you get your art critiqued and you didn't mean to, or wasting people's time when they are critiquing your art and you weren't looking for it. So, if you're looking to post your art, post on /r My Little Pony or MLP Lounge. Those are both great subreddits for just giving a good smattering of tasty art.
yeah. Also adorable killing.
Yeah, love the glasses, love the smile, the eyes, just very cute expression.
I love the shape of your horn. The one problem is that it's very much like we're seeing the horn side on. I'll just turn my layer off a second. Like ignore the rest of the pony for a second, the rest of the Kirin. Um, like say if we were to just like that's not working, but ignore all of that and just look at the horn and imagine that we're seeing on top of the head of a character that's facing this way. It would make that makes sense like visually because the horn is kind of at the wrong angle. It can be very difficult to push the perspective of things like that. But having drawn a tiefling or two in my time, this is a technique I like doing is really pushing that overlap. You can see this little bit here where there's a bit where it sort of folds over and then comes back out again. This is still one coherent shape. It's just this curve that you've got here where it goes sort of down and back up again. You're just showing that there's three-dimensional space to it. And then you've obviously got this like hovering over bit here, which comes out as like a little thorn. And then you've got your horn. Just making sure it's in the center of the head. I put that yellow line a bit weirdly, so ignore that. Um, You want it to be centered on the head. You want it to make sure it's coming out at the right angle and pushed to the right sort of perspective.
I have a maybe dumb question for the group, but I'm trying to stretch my brain around what this is. It's not. I'm not sure what.
I think that this part here is wing, right? Because you got
I
the
thought it was
side.
the arm, like the
I,
arm
I was
doing
I
like
was thinking
a.
that too. So
So
either those
I
are sort of bits of fluff on the sort of wrists there, or I think it might just be fluff.
yeah, I
Um,
think this is
Yeah,
an arm,
shoulder.
and then this is like the shoulder on the other side, and the arm just goes down.
Hmm.
I'm seeing it almost like here's one arm, and then on top here's this other arm. But I don't,
There's
I
like
don't
3
know if that.
people drawing on it right now.
Like what I'm seeing is, I'll just do it on the side because there's too many.
Oh no, yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely.
this right here is
definitely
confusing this image a little bit. So
Exactly. Like if that's the other shoulder,
readability
yeah,
might
we
be an
need the
issue
gap
here.
there. And if it's
Yeah,
not, we need some like if this is two like hooves putting themselves together, like maybe we could have the elbow of the other one coming around
Hmm.
this way to
I'm
kind of
just
like inform.
simplifying this one and not, without the fluff, it's a bit more readable as a leg. So we can get into fluff afterwards, but making sure that something is readable is important. Yeah, yeah, and it's hard not being able to see the neck either, as the hair sort of cuts into it. But yeah, it is tricky. Having That's why I think having sort of like the other leg come up like that or something, anything to like really give us a solid idea of what's happening instead of guessing is going to be helpful.
Mhm.
All right, ready to move on to our next lovely horse?
Yeah. Great stuff. Really cute. Sorry for like the nitpickiness. It's really great otherwise. I was just very confused about the tangent
Mhm.
happening. Or well, we don't know. Sadly, you are not here to answer.
All right.
Sad, sad.
The next one up is by That One Boy with a Gun. Just an attempt I had drawn the other day of a pony in gear. Is that like a Marvel, like the Marvel police force logo? The
I'm
ones
not
who are
sure.
either that or Team Rocket. I'm not quite sure.
Since we already have some lovely, lovely people doing anatomy drawovers, I just wanted to take a second to talk about, first of all, great job for doing this. Great job for drawing. Any art is good art because you made art, and I love to make that clear. And I already see someone doing it in red. For any kind of outfit, accessory, armor, anything you're adding onto the pony's body, it's gonna come off a little bit from the actual pony itself. So in red there, you can see kind of an outline forming, not directly stopping at the pony's neck, but going around the pony's neck because the pony's wearing it. So like little things like this are really good to keep in mind for any kind of outfit or armor you want to give your pony in the future. Even things that are like slightly thin, like straps, can have just the littlest bit of overturn or overlap with the chin so that it's its own thing sitting on top of the chin. Or under the chin, I guess that makes more sense. But yeah, that's just something to think about for next time. Like you have a great shoot off here at the edge of the helmet on top. It's the same idea, just smaller, a little more detailed than say that big visor.
Yeah, completely agree. So I've just also shortened the chest just a bit. Brought that in. I know they're supposed to be like rippling, muscular sort of horse look with that bulging chest, but even Big Mac doesn't have one so large that it sticks out past the face. So I just bring that back a bit to even out the neck, especially because horse necks are quite large. They're like baseball players, where it's hard to tell the neck from the rest of the head some days. As far as the stripes or the shading that you've done to try and fill in the area, my suggestion, if you're going to try and fill in with a pencil like that, take the pencil and bring the lead to the side, so you're just using a larger flat area, and then it's going to be an easier time filling that in. Or look into hatching, and hatching is basically boop, 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 a whole bunch of lines filling it in. If you go look at a bunch of comic books or manga and that, oftentimes there'll be hatching used to try and fill in the areas or create that sort of dark look without having to really go ham on coloring it in, especially if they're done in black and white rather than color. It's a very common thing. Yeah, someone's doing it in blue here. Don't be afraid of doing that type of thing, because it can just make your life a lot easier. Shortcuts are wonderful. Anyone else have any other comments on this picture?
Not really.
I'd just say keep up the awesome work. Keep on drawing.
All right, let's move on to our next horse. This one with these interesting accessories. This is by Environmental Bug 7862. MLP or my MLP OC. MLP Commission Open $5. So their name is MLP Commission Open $5. Interesting horse name. I think the cutie mark. Would it be like a American or Canadian? Who else uses the dollar symbol?
Australia?
Does us? Okay.
Yeah, Australian dollar.
The Aussie bucks? Aussie dollar dues?
Just do brick of gold.
I think some other countries do too, but I can't remember which right now.
Loving the accessories. They are fun. They look quite warm.
Very fuzzy.
General pony anatomy seems to be solid. The arm, a little bit broken, but honestly, with maybe just add a shoulder, just a bit of something there, you'll be fine. Here, all fine. I would warn you against doing your hair this black. And I think actually, that's just my screen. Never mind. When I look at a different screen, I can see the outlines. But it's just a barely there. Because you have some strokes in here, some shape that is forming, especially around the horn. You got some overlap happening here. I can't see it on my tablet screen, but I suspect that's because it's older than some of the artists on our Discord and subreddit. So I'll blame it. So who's doing this wonderful floofy stuff on the left-hand side here?
That's not me.
No. That's me. Hello.
Hi, Len. You want to explain your floof? Like how you're building it up?
You know what? I never really think about that.
All right.
I'm really bad at explaining myself.
Let's break down the process a bit.
So why do you choose to not do jaggedy saw blades? Why do you choose larger bodies of your hair? Why do you choose the angles that it has? What has brought you to that point?
Usually fur isn't pointy unless it's stylized like that. so it usually falls more curly at the end, because lighter equals curlier-ish. I don't know. And it clumps up a lot, usually, in those types of accessories. So I have like a bigger clump here that's not really defined and stuff like that. Otherwise, the way it's falling is just mostly towards the bottom, but towards the top, since it's shorter, it can go higher since it's less heavy. Otherwise, I don't really know.
No, that's sounds perfect.
Okay, great.
All right. Anyone else have any other comments on this picture? Any other things they'd like to add?
Nope. I just would say ask questions next time. It's great to see you're open for commission, but if you're unaware, our subreddit is more about feedback and getting critique and giving critique and all that fun stuff. So if you're gonna post in the future, please ask questions like, did you want help with something specific? Was it I mean, anything. Is there something you want to do that you're not doing now? Any kind of question, we'll take it. We love questions.
Yeah, direct us. All right. On to our next horse. We got these sleepy little horses by Zeta Nepzilot. Asleep in a hot tub. Drew in GIMP.
Hey, I used to use GIMP.
Highly suggest not falling asleep in a hot tub.
Yeah, don't do that.
But it's so cozy and warm.
It's almost as bad as setting up an entire gaming rig while in the so first thing that points out to me is it's 100% great and good advice to get the whole like eye shape down before you start doing like the closed eyes. Like absolutely what you're doing is good. It's supposed to be tick tick. What you're doing is good. Do the whole eye shape, but don't have the whole eye shape there when you're finished. Let me just make this black. I was just thickening up the bottom parts a little bit. It looks silly that they're in blue. So let's do that. And then what we're gonna do is uncheck this, and I'm gonna select this. And oh nope, I can't. Oh, I told you to undo the opacity lock. There we go. Leave a gap. Just leave a little bit of the gap, and leave a little bit of the top of the eye, because that will help the brain to fill in the gaps of where the eye goes without making it look like a solid object on their head. And then just have like a little bit of a brow. So now they look way more relaxed. And
Yeah.
we're gonna do the same thing over here. Just break that up a bit, make it not look like a solid object. And immediately it looks more natural. See? I like the pose. I like the spaghetti legs just sort of flopped on the side. I'll also maybe be a little bit careful about the perspective going on. The water sort of catching up on this side of the bath here a little bit. Just want to make sure that it's staying to the same like disappearing point all the way around.
I can't speak for what type of tub this is, but it looks like water's being agitated. In my experience, tubs tend to like bubblers are a big thing on tubs. Not quite sure if that's the intent here, but using more white in your lining of it. So you've done a bit of this very light blue to sort of show ripples. If you're to show them with a lighter white, like it's still with a bit of blue tint into it, but heavily into the white side of it, you're going to help get a bit more information shared there.
I also just made the surface level of the water a bit more bumpy and uneven, because not only are these ponies sitting in there, if this was like a still bathtub and they've been laying here for a while because they're sleeping, then yeah, the water would have probably settled. But if this is like a bubbly tub, if that is what's going on, then the water would absolutely be like moving around. Those ripples would never have time to settle because there would constantly be disturbances to the water with all the bubbles going on, pushing the water left, right, and all about and under, around in pretzels, shooting it all over the place. So it's going to be creating these like little whirlpools all over the place in the water and just creating ripples in the surface and making it move around. So That's why it's gonna be all bumpy. But if it's
Also
not
need a
bumpy,
rubber
don't
ducky.
worry. Oh yes, that would be perfect. Let's get a rubber ducky. Zoom in.
You can also help convey that they're relaxed with the ears. So upright ears are sort of alert, they're attentive, they're engaged in the scene around them. More relaxed ears, like the one that's happening beneath this drawing, where they're down to the side, is a relaxed sort of look to them. It helps
Mhm.
convey that the rest of the character is relaxed. Dogs and
Yeah,
cats will
ears
do
will
this
just
often.
stay on the side.
Yeah. Ali, is that you doing the picture beneath it?
That would be CPC.
Dang.
I'm also adding some other poses because they might have fallen asleep in a different pose instead of both in the same pose.
Yeah, it's true.
Just gives a little bit more character to your characters.
For your steam lines, I would suggest not doing such a small brush with it. I would start off with a very large but very dim white brush, maybe slightly tinted towards the blue, but just a big old brush there. We drop that opacity all the way down, drop that density all the way down, so it's a big old soft brush. The hardness while I'm at it. We're just, yeah. And then you can build it up in layers, and you can help sort of cover up some of the background to remove a bit of the interest from the background, and you can help convey the heat coming off that tub. If you go look at images of, say, hot springs that they've drawn in anime and that, you'll see that type of thing too, where it's just a steam fest.
Hmm.
All right. Anyone else have any other comments on this picture?
Nope.
Keep it up. More horse, please. All right. Our next one is by. Oh, I got it somewhere here. One moment. There it is. It's by Lone2719. OC! Attempt to use Sharpies to draw some of my favorite poems. How can I improve for the next time? Sharpies is bold. There is no going back from a brushstroke with that. And you've done a great job. I don't see anything popping out of the lines. I don't see weird blotches just hanging around. No trail of tears happening over here. It's good. You've done a great job.
Yeah.
Did you start with an undersketch? Because I don't see even indications of an undersketch, unless if you've completely inked over your pencil lines. But even then, it's still you usually get some indication of erase marks and that happening through it. So don't be afraid of using pencil, very light pencil, to create that undersketch. I even do it with like watercolors and that when I'm doing light watercolorings. You can get it down to the point where it will vanish or it will be easily hidden by the coloring. As long as it's not wax-based pencil. If it's just standard graphite, compressed graphite, decent price stuff, not the absolute cheapest thing you can find. You're talking about 10 cents a pencil rather than 2.
I can see like a very small, faint line of the hair being there, so there was an undersketch.
Okay. Good catch, good catch. I think they've used a gel pen in there for the white marks.
Yeah.
Because it does seem to overlap, yeah. Gel pens are fun for that. So I'm looking at your horse head size, and what I'm seeing is they're all very very large with small features on it. But when I go through your gallery, it seems to be very consistent with how you're doing it. This is the point where I'd love to know, is this a style that you're trying to stick with? This is what you like to see in your horses? Or is this just an artifact of slow changes over time that have sort of crept this way? So if you have answers to that, I would love to know. Also, that's a fun cutie mark for Christy. I assume that's what you're drawing beside them. Man, I can't believe you didn't bleed any colors into the streaks in the mane.
Yeah, Sharpie's usually a real butt about bleeding.
I forget there are coloured Sharpies. I only ever know the black Sharpies.
You're missing out. There's even metallic ones. They're good fun.
I've only used a Sharpie to write something. I've not used it in art in general.
You
I
should
had to do
pick up some of the metallic ones next time you go to a pony convention or whatever and get people to sign with them. They're all sorts of fun and shininess and
I have lots
It's
of
true.
colored pens and fun metallic pens and things that I have used and stuff like that before. Just not Sharpie brand.
fair. All right. Anyone else have any other comments on this picture?
Oh, great work.
All right. Let's vamoose to the next one. We got this so very, very fluffy Fluttershy by B Muncher. Yeah, B Muncher X. Fluttershy in my style. It's so fluffy. Just so fluffy.
Yeah, I
It
gotta
is
say, good job on using 2 different colors for the line art. That's always fun to see. Always makes the art pop a little bit. For the outlining, though, when you are doing inking, it is just as important as when you are drawing as when you are inking is to think about what you're doing with your lines. So if you're looking at just the lines, you're going to miss the overall shape. So over here, like on the wing, you can kind of see instead of outlining the wing and making that line flow naturally, it looks like it's part of the hair outline you were going for here. So it makes a little bit of a tangent and just a little bit weird looking
down
wing
here as
there.
well, where there's a bit of a
Mhm.
tangent where it almost looks like the hair so it comes up like that.
So just keep
Yeah.
in mind it's probably a good idea to ink one thing at a time instead of just looking at the overall shape of it. It just makes your lines flow a lot more that way.
Yeah, I sometimes do colored line art, and what I always do when I want to give it like a more darker outline for some of the parts is I'll go over the whole thing first with the lighter color, and then you can always put darker colors on top, and that way you don't need to go over the whole outline all on its own like this, and you can just focus on one part of the drawing as if you're drawing instead of just tracing over without thinking about the shape, the overall shape.
So this pony could use a comb for the fluff.
don't know if somebody added these in or not, but these little lines down here at the bottom of the hair don't show up anywhere else on the hair, so it might be a good idea to be consistent with that as well, putting them in for the rest of the hair.
Yeah.
Such a boopable face. Feel though if you went in for the boop, you might just be sucked into the fluff.
Yeah, you'll just get lost in there. It's our secret weapon.
Also makes me wonder, like, have you seen like very, very fluffy dogs and cats where when they finally get a bath, they're just these small little sticks under them?
There's this neighborhood cat around here called Jaffa, who sadly is not with us anymore, but he used to like be known as like this really, really friendly cat in the neighborhood. Like all the other cats are like skittish and don't want to go near anyone that they don't know. But Jaffa would like go hang out at the bus stop and would like wait with people and like hang out with them and brush around their legs while they're waiting for the bus, and would like go on people's garden walls and then like hang out with them. And he was so fluffy, but like as soon as you tried to pet him, your hand would just sink into the fluff and meet like skeleton. Like if you gave him a bath, if he got wet, there would be just like no cat there. But otherwise, he looked like a lion. It was crazy.
Another thing I would say is to make sure to draw your whole body under the fluff before you add the fluff. So like draw simple shapes first and then draw fluff on top of that. Because for example here on the legs it looks like it lost a lot of the shape of the legs. It feels like you went straight onto the fluff. And I'm not sure if you're doing like a pony leg or more of a human leg, but there's still like shape to it before there's fluff on top of it. And then you can also keep in mind gravity. So like the gravity would pull the fluff down. So I usually when I have a super fluffy character, I make like the end of the fluff a little bit thicker.
Always need more fluff. All right. Anyone else have any other elements they'd like to critique about this? Any other comments they'd like to make?
No,
Nope.
it's cute.
All right. Well, that's it for pictures submitted this week. So we're going to call it a day. Thank y'all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye!